This is a tournament recap video for November 8th on Sam Rayburn. This is a DETX qualifier. I think it's number 3 or 4. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's probably 4. Just gonna do a little rundown on this tournament. I've been doing these for this whole year. I've kind of taken a break, forgot to do them for this past tournament, and then what tournament I actually did yesterday. So I was gonna come on here and talk about both of those in separate videos. But so November 8th we had a tournament on Sam Rayburn, and that was the week after our first major cold front. So temperatures started to drop. I think the week leading up to it was in the 40s and 50s, and then it got warm about the day before the tournament, and then it gradually increased. It got a little bit warmer, probably 70s, 80s for the tournament, and the day before it. So it's November, you get a cold front. My first thought was bait fish. Being in East Texas, these threadfins group up really good with the cold. Usually water around 60 to below degrees. I mean, the threadfins really group up, and these big balls, they get pushed around by fish of all sizes. You just got to figure out where the big ones are at. So keeping that in mind, leading into the tournament, I did a lot of graphing, more graphing than I did fishing. Just trying to find as much bait as I could and picking through that bait, trying to find the better quality fish. And I did that using, well, actually, let me just tell you how I did in the tournament. I ended up with second place with 17 pounds. I can't remember how much over 17, it doesn't matter. But I fished that tournament with 2 main baits. As a matter of fact, I caught all my fish on 2 main baits. And one of them was really related to the shad pattern, and the other one was kind of not related to it, but we'll talk about that here in a second. The first bait that I caught them on was this A-rig. This is I think it's called a diamond A-rig. I'm not sure. It's a really good one. I like that it doesn't break. It's very durable. I don't have the hooks on it right now because I took them off because I was going to fish a tournament with a different A-rig this past week. But this is what I was throwing on it. This is a 3.5 big bite bait suicide shad. I'm not sure what head this is. The reason I throw this head though is because, as you can see right there in that gap, it's got a screw lock, and having that screw lock on an A-rig is all the difference in my opinion, because you'll have so many fish come up and short strike it or pull your tail off or hit the bait and just tear up the bait. And having the screw lock, I mean, you'll go through maybe 1 or 2 baits a day on a really good day. Like I didn't burn through many swim baits. So that was the key to catching a limit and definitely some better quality starter fish of the day. I targeted shad schools in 12 to 16 foot of water with bass obviously pushing them. Some of them were sitting on top of the shad, some of them were sitting on the bottom of the shad. Just early winter patterns, late fall, early winter, definitely chasing bait and roaming. That bait was by far the best producing bait for the weekend that I fished. They were just on it really good. They wouldn't eat a minnow as good. They wouldn't eat a singular swim bait as good. They wouldn't eat an underspin as good. But that A-rig was just really getting bit. And then the second bait that produced that weekend that I'll talk about a little bit was this KGB crappie. This is another tournament that I've thrown the glide bait in. Another tournament I've done well throwing glide bait. I mean, just look at that thing. It's a great glide. Great for Rayburn. I caught a lot of fish on it just over the past month and a half. And that weekend in particular, actually the day before the tournament, Friday, the day I practiced, I found some fish a little bit shallower, kind of doing a similar deal with, they were chasing, but they're really shallow and they were big. So I didn't want to throw the A-rig at them in fear that I'd draw them out towards me. I wanted something that I think they could commit to almost immediately after seeing it. So in that case, that was going to be the glide bait, or a jerk bait would have done that probably. But I like throwing the glide. It's a fun bite. That's what I like to do. So I picked up that glide bait, and these fish were probably 6 to 10 foot of water that I caught on the glide bait. I caught 2 of them during the tournament. It was a 411 and then another 4-pounder, and then they just came up and sharked that glide. They were on shallow clay creek bends. So that's another thing that's going on this time of year. As the bait moves back in the creek or comes back out to the main lake from the fall, those fish will stage on those creek bends in big schools. A lot of people throw like a rattle trap or red eye shad at them to get them fired up and kind of catch them real good on creek bends. But there's not a lot of people throwing big baits with live scope on those creek bends when they're doing it. And that's just something that I found was key to getting those bigger bites and getting those bigger ones out of the school was this glide bait. I'm throwing that on a extra heavy 7.7 edge rods, super light heavy rod. Like light as in weight, not as in light tip, but super nice rod. I love throwing these lighter big baits on it. It's got a good tip for chopping this very choppy glide. Really good rod, really good setup. 25-pound fluorocarbon, Seagar DETX fluorocarbon on that, because I am around a little cover most of the times when I'm throwing a glide, and I don't want to break that off. This A-rig I threw on a 6-inch broomstick rod with a Corrado 200M. Again, 25-pound DETX, because I'm around cover most of the time when I'm fishing Rayburn, especially now that the lake's low. I've been around a lot more hard cover lately. So that's the setups for it. And kind of again talking about what I was looking for, I stayed in the somewhat clear water. The colder water I could find, the better, because I felt that bait was grouped up better in the colder water. It's kind of farther into the cycle that it goes through in the winter. So I was looking in those drains, anywhere from 20 to like 10 had bait in drains pretty good. But I figured I found that the best areas to find those fish was probably about 12 to 16 foot of water. Some of them would be racing around on the bottom. Some of them would be sitting on schools on the bottom inside the drain. But a lot of them would just be floating around inside the bait, eating the bait or around the bait. And that's where that A-rig came into play, especially the ones in the bait eating. You could see them in the bait balls with live scope, pick them out of it. And that bait's just got so much drawing power for fish in or around bait. That's what makes it so effective. Me personally, I like having this many blades. I think it helps. You can throw no blades, you can throw 5 blades, but what is that? It's 8 blades. I think 8 blades is better. It gives more drawing power. It also allows me to work that A-rig a little bit slower over the tops of them, and instead of it sinking super fast or something of that sort. Again, with the sinking super fast, I throw 1/8 ounce heads, nothing heavier usually for Rayburn on the A-rig, because I want that bait to look as natural as possible, just swimming slowly over their head until they see it. Then once they see it, I'll speed up my retrieve like a fleeing bait shad. I'll even throw some pops in there sometimes, and what that does is it compresses the A-rig like that, like a bait ball, kind of, I guess, getting scared and fluttering off, compressing and expanding. It kind of, to me, I don't know if this is true, but to me, it makes me think that it adds a little bit more life to the bait ball that most people aren't doing, and that's what triggers those bites. I mean, I've had some follow for 30, 40 feet, and then I hit it once like that, and it compresses, and they come eat it. Or I've had some that they only want that straight retrieve. So it's kind of fish by fish, and based off their reaction is what I do. And that's kind of similar with a lot of baits, including a glide bait. But that A-rig is just so effective from now until late December, probably a little bit into January. I haven't experimented with it a whole lot that early because I'm usually doing other things. But it's a great bait. It's my favorite way to catch them. It's so fun. You can catch 5 at a time. I think that tournament I caught multiple times. I think I caught 3 or more. I don't think I caught 5 that tournament, but I think I caught 3 or 4, probably 5 times, which was pretty cool. Now, those fish weren't giant, but the fish that helped build up the 17 pounds, I had 3 of them on the A-rig and 2 of them on the glide bait, and those were 2 of the 3 rods that I had on deck at all. And I didn't have a minnow at all. I just feel like they weren't eating the minnow that good. I had a jerkbait, a 110 plus 2, and I don't even remember what color it was, but that was for some finickier fish that wouldn't touch the glide bait on the creek bends. I'd hit it across the bottom, kind of get them to react to it and slap at it, and that's how I'd hook them. More of a reaction strike than an actual hunger bite like that glide or that A-rig is, in my opinion. But that was how I did it. I had fun that tournament. That tournament pushed me up to, I think, 3rd or 4th LY for DP's Texas. I'm not sure. Got some real hammers in there. A kid caught a 13-pounder that tournament. That was awesome. A good friend of mine caught a 13-pounder. and ended up getting first place with that fish. That pushed him over to, I think, like 25 pounds. What a good fish. What a cool experience that was. Even getting to see it at weigh-in and stuff. Biggest fish I've ever seen in person. But it was a fun tournament. Rayburn was getting good. I haven't been out there in a while, but last few times I've been, it's been pretty nice and pretty easy to catch some good ones on it. So I'll keep that in mind, and hopefully can catch some this weekend in the Deep East Texas tournament again. Try to push me up more in AOI and make a little bit of money. Thank you for watching. If you got any questions, send me a DM on Instagram, comment. If you got my phone number, text me the questions about this. I'm just doing these to try and help younger kids look out these tournaments on Rayburn or Toledo Bend or East Texas Lakes, because when I started looking, trying to do research, I didn't find many kids that fished had YouTube channels or anything like that. So I'm just trying to help see what I can contribute, maybe point some people in the right direction. I don't know if it'll help. If it does, that's great. If it doesn't, oh well. Thank you for watching.